Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving into the world of drum programming. Specifically, I'm going to show you how to program a few MIDI blast patterns in Pro Tools using Superior Drummer 3. Let's get started. First things first, let's set up our session in Pro Tools. Open up Pro Tools and create a new session. Once you have your session open, change the tempo to, we'll say, 200 BPM for this example. Then, we will add a new instrument track by going to Track, New Stereo Instrument Track. We'll name it Drums. Next, insert Superior Drummer 3 on the instrument track. Go to the Insert section on the track, click on an empty slot, and select Superior Drummer 3 from the list. Now we have Superior Drummer 3 loaded up, and we can begin programming our first blast beat pattern. Within Superior Drummer 3, select the drum kit you want to use. For a blast beat pattern, I recommend using a heavy and aggressive kit. I'm going to use the Metal Machinery kit and the all-round preset for this tutorial. Let it load the kit. Test it out. Make sure your kit pieces are assigned correctly. You'll want a powerful kick, snare, and cymbals for a good blast pattern. Check the Mixer tab to ensure everything is routed properly. Now let's program a traditional blast pattern. Go to the MIDI editor by right-clicking on the instrument track and selecting the MIDI editor. Begin by adding kicks on every 8th note. Now select all of the kicks and, while holding the Alt key, copy the kick hits up to where we want to place the snare hits. For a traditional blast beat, we want the snare to be in between each of the kick hits. Here is how it sounds. Next, we'll start by adding our crash and hi-hat cymbals. Here is how that sounds. With the basic pattern in place, it's time to fine-tune and humanize it. First, let's adjust the velocities to make the pattern more dynamic. Then choose Event. To Event Operations, to change velocity. Select all of the snare hits. Now in this window, we want to leave Note unchecked. Change the drop-down menu to Add. Check the Limit button and choose a lower limit of 80 and an upper limit of 90. Select Randomize. That should stay around 10%. Click Apply, and here's how that sounds. Next, we will randomize the velocity on the hi-hats. Go to Event, Event Operations. Open the Event Operations window and select Change Velocity. Here we will keep all the settings the same, except change the upper velocity limit to 100. Click Apply. That is starting to sound good. Next, select all of the kicks and pull up the Change Velocity window again. This time we will change the lower velocity limit to 105 and the upper velocity limit to 115. Click Apply. Let's take this one step further. We will select all of the drum hits. Next, we will go to Event, Event Operations, and Quantize. Here are the settings I used here to slightly offset each note, either just before or just after each beat. Let's zoom in for a better view of what is going on. See there, the notes fall just off the beat. This gives it a more human feel. Now let's see how this sounds. And that is how you program a basic traditional blast beat drum pattern. Next, we will create a hammer blast drum pattern. To start, let's open up the MIDI editor once again. We will do the same as before, by programming the kick on every 8th note. And as before, we will select all of the kicks and copy them up to the snare. But this time, instead of the snare being in between each of the kick hits, the snare will fall on the same beat as the kick. Here is how that sounds. We will add a few crash cymbals, and now we will adjust our velocities to give it a more balanced sound. Starting with the snare, we will do the same as before. We will randomize the lower velocity limit to 80 and upper velocity limit to 90. Click Apply. Now select all of the kicks, and just as before, we will change the velocity limits to 105 and 115. Click Apply. We'll just raise these cymbal hits a little bit. And here is what we've got. Next, select all of the drum hits and we will humanize them. Again, pull up the quantize window. Here are the settings. Select Apply. And here is how it sounds now. That is how you program a basic hammer blast. Next, we will create a bomb blast. Right-click on the instrument track and open up the MIDI editor. Draw out the kicks on every 8th note, just as we did before. From here, we will select all of the kicks and copy them to double our kicks to every 16th note. Here's how that sounds. Next, we will select the top kicks and copy those up to where we will put the snare. The snare will start with the first beat and every other note after that, just like we did on the hammer blast. And here is how that sounds. Now we will add a few cymbal hits. Here's what that sounds like. Next, we will adjust the velocity throughout the pattern. We will start with the snare again, with the same velocity settings. Now select all of the kicks and using our same settings, we will adjust the velocity. Next, we will bring up the cymbals. Here is what we have now. Next, we will want to humanize the pattern using the quantization function again. Here is our bomb blast beat pattern. And there you have it, a few blast beat patterns programmed in Pro Tools using Superior Drummer 3. Remember, the key to a great drum pattern is to experiment and add your own flair. If you found this tutorial helpful, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.